July 7th, 1977, 7/7/77. That was the UK premiere date in Leicester Square in London for the 10th James Bond film, celebrating the 15th anniversary of 007. So, we are reviewing film number 10 in the series. We're almost halfway through the James Bond films. This is my review of The Spy Who Loved Me, which is Roger Moore's third outing as James Bond. Now, many believe that for Sean Connery, his third film was Goldfinger. People believe, many fans believe that Goldfinger is Sean Connery at his peak as in the role of James Bond. And people also agree with, they say likewise for Roger Moore. His third film, The Spy Who Loved Me, is where he plays the character to the best. And in many ways I agree. I think it is the best of the Roger Moore films. The plot is very much copied from You Only Live Twice in a lot of respects, but it is a stronger film than You Only Live Twice. The humour and the actual story, the combination of the two work together in a much better way. Obviously, if we go back to Ian Fleming's novel, the problems that Cubby Broccoli had, on top of the fact that he was now the sole producer of the film series, was the fact that Ian Fleming never allowed in the contract for Cubby and Harry of the Bond books, he never allowed them to use anything more than the title of his novel of The Spy Who Loved Me, because Fleming was never happy with his novel, The Spy Who Loved Me. So Cubby decided that they needed an entirely new story, an original story for the film, for The Spy Who Loved Me. So they decided to go for this one, for the 10th film in the series. And what can I say? It's an enormous film. From the opening sequence with that parachute jump, the Union Jack flying over the top, Union Jack, every time you see that, and if you see it in the cinema, I went to see it at an outdoor screening in London a year ago with my girlfriend, and it just gets an applause every time. It's just, it's a wonderful, patriotic moment. You think, my God, James Bond is going to die. There's no way he's going to get out of this. But he skis off the edge after some pretty dodgy back projection work on Roger Moore. Clearly studio shots of Roger Moore skiing along, as you do. He skis off the edge. The skis almost hit the parachutes. It's so close, honestly. But they get it. They got it in one shot with the stuntman, and it's just a perfect scene. The music blares out. The James Bond theme blares out, and Bond parachutes safely. Union Jack opens up. It's terrific. Leads into Roger Moore actually as part of the title sequence from Maurice Binder. And the title song from Carly Simon, Nobody Does It Better, is the best James Bond song. It's just a beautiful song. It's perfect. It's a perfect song. Could not be any better. And it's played over one of Maurice Binder's best title sequences as well. There's a moment in the title sequences where there are a row of women. Bond just goes up to them, just walks up to them, and they all fall down. It's like a domino effect. It's brilliant. It's such a great image, and the lighting, the cinematography for the film in general are superb. But certainly with the title sequence as well is just fantastic. It's really good. Brilliant pre-title sequence, brilliant opening credits, brilliant theme song. You know, everything is fantastic so far. The film has its ups and downs, certainly. Not every part of the film is brilliant, but for a long time I considered it to be, it was in my top three. It was in my top three James Bond films, and I think it's still definitely in my top five. It's an entertaining film. There are lots of great characters. We have the first appearance from Jaws, the henchman of the villain in The Spy Who Loved Me, the original novel, was actually called a horror, but Cubby Broccoli adapted that and decided to call the henchman Jaws, and it fits so much better. It just works. And Richard Kiel, it really is a presence. I mean, he is, you know, he's nearly 7 foot tall, I think, and is just... he's really menacing on screen. There are some great moments. A particular moment where he kills the character Fakesh at the pyramids in Egypt is a really haunting scene. It's a great moment actually in the film. Excuse me. So let's talk about the Bond girl. So Barbara Bach, gorgeous woman, plays Agent XXX Anya Amasova. She's a Russian agent, and she falls for Bond, obviously, but not until the end of the mission, and after Bond has revealed that he killed her lover on a mission at the beginning of the film in Austria. It wasn't the best reveal for Bond to explain to Anya that he killed her lover, but so she's kind of out for revenge on Bond, but they work together. And, you know, they end up together at the end of the film. It's Roger Moore's favourite of his James Bond films, and I can understand why. It has all of the right elements. Lewis Gilbert returns as the director after his work on You Only Live Twice. So 10 years on, he is back directing Bond. He'll also direct the next film, Moonraker. And the set pieces are enormous. Ken Adams' set is still the most impressive in the whole of the Bond series. The supertanker set of Stromberg's at Pinewood Studios is just terrific. With the opening of the new studios after the fire at Pinewood Studios, they unveiled the new studios and press were allowed onto the tanker set, and it just looks enormous. It looks so vast, and it's Ken Adam himself, the the set designer, actually asked Stanley Kubrick, famous American film director, how to light the set, because it was so vast, it was so huge. He needed some pointers for how to light the film sets. So there we go. So it's the first of 2 films for Richard Kiel as Jaws. Barbara Bach is Anya Amasova, one of the best Bond girls actually, because she is the first Bond girl to sort of represent Bond's equal. She is an agent as well. She is equal to Bond in her strengths, in her skills, and they've tried to do this with some of the other Bond girls. It hasn't worked in the same way as it does here. This is the first attempt that they did for making a Bond equal, and it works very well. There's a scene in the film where Bond and Anya first meet at the Mojave Club, and they're ordering drinks, and Anya really scrutinises Bond. She shows exactly how much she knows of Bond, and she says, many lady friends, but married only once, wife killed, and Bond stops her straight away. This shows Roger Moore's softer side as Bond, but it shows that he is a great actor. He plays the scene very well. He downplays it. He could have played it as a joke. He could have played the whole film as a joke, but this is the first time in the Roger Moore films that he manages to balance the humour and the harder side of Bond, the killer side of Bond, together very nicely. So it works very, very well. The villain of the film, the main villain, is Karl Stromberg, played by an actor called Kurt Jürgens, and he's terrific, actually. He's a very good Bond villain. In his lair, very much keeps himself to himself. You see him at different points, but he's a very insular Bond villain. Milton Reed plays Sandor, who is one of Stromberg's henchmen alongside Jaws. Bond dispatches him off of the top of a building site. And Milton Reed actually is notable for appearing in Dr. No as well. He was in the first James Bond film as one of Dr. No's heavies who punches Bond in a chair at the at the dinner table after Bond has had his had a meal with Dr. No, right at the end of the film. As I mentioned in the earlier films, From Russia with Love, Walter Gotell played a member of Spectre, played Morzini, who was killed at the end of From Russia with Love. And he returns to the series as a different character. He is the general of the KGB, General Gogol. And he appears here. We hear M's name for the first time. We hear that M is called Miles. Miles Meservey, actually, is his name. And Walter Gotell, he's the general of the KGB, General Gogol, and he is the superior of Anya. So General Gogol and M put Bond and Anya together to work on the mission together. The Bond car this time is the Lotus Esprit, beautiful car, and nice little sequence where the Bond car goes underwater and emerges back on the land as well, comes out of the water, people just staring at Bond and Anya in the car, and Bond takes a fish and just drops it back into the water. It's comic timing for Roger Moore is superb. The score from Marvin Hamlish kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. The theme song, obviously, as I've said, is perfect, and he composed the theme song with Carol Bayer Sager, and it's a great song, brilliantly written and brilliantly performed by Carly Simon. But the score itself is a bit hit and miss. It's very disco influenced. Late 1970s, 1977, the Bee Gees were the big band. So it has a real Bee Gees, real disco flavour, you know, sort of get your flares out, this is James Bond. Actually, the film as well has, I have to mention this line because it's one of my favourites in the whole series, but it's very crude, and it's actually, I'm very surprised that they got away with Bond saying this line. When Bond arrives at in Egypt, he says he's persuaded to stay the night with one of his contacts in Egypt, and the contact says, "Are you sure I can't persuade you to stay the night?" And a lady is there holding out a rose to Bond, and he says, "When one is in Egypt, one should delve deeply into its treasures." It's the innuendo of the line is just fantastic, but it's very rude, and it's probably one of the rudest lines in a James Bond film. The beautiful locations in the film as well, Egypt, Sardinia as well, beautiful locations for the film, some of the best actually in the series. Great action sequences, great dialogue this time, and the right balance between humour and action and adventure. So it is certainly, I think, the strongest point in Roger Moore's era as James Bond. So that was The Spy Who Loved Me. Roger Moore will return as James Bond in the next film. Originally it was supposed to be For Your Eyes Only. Obviously with Star Wars arriving in the same summer as The Spy Who Loved Me, in the summer of 1977, Cubby Broccoli decided to take Bond into space. So Bond will actually return in the outlandish and not so good Moonraker. So my review of that is coming up. So that was my review of The Spy Who Loved Me. Keep listening and keep watching for my review of the 11th Bond film, Moonraker. It's on the way.